I gotta snuggle up to this thing, huh? So, welcome everybody, and thanks to the Denver Memorial Library and the trustees and organizing this public forum. Thanks particularly to Diane Lucars, the reader, and Tom the timer, Tom Aspect there. Everybody will beware of your light box there. And to Ann Aspect and Patty Walford, who did the review of the questions and set those up. And thanks to you conscientious candidates and voters for participating in this forum. Gatherings such as this represent the cornerstone of our constitutional democracy at its foundation, which is local governance. Tonight, we are part of the election process that ensures peaceful succession and attention to voters' voices. It's a celebration and a cause for sighs of gratitude, because most regrettably, the daily news reports from Ukraine and elsewhere are vividly portraying the horrors and chaos of alternative ways of achieving political power. Audience members, the questions you submitted ahead of time will enable you to hear firsthand from prospective office holders, and it will inform your vote. You're also bound to learn more about decision-making and tax dollar allocations that affect your daily lives. Candidates, this is your opportunity to inform us about your qualifications, your priorities, your decision-making process, and your methods for keeping in touch with your constituents. We want each of you to be as comfortable and relaxed as possible and to do your best. To facilitate that, I'll start by explaining the format of which you were informed in advance. And the very first thing, ladies and gentlemen, is to draw your straw. And the short straw will be the first to answer the first question. This will come, you'll have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then we'll go through the questions. You'll have a minute to answer each question, and then there'll be a 1-minute closing statement. So the one that gets the short straw gets the first question first. And then with each successive question, we'll rotate the starter. Okay? And if you have any questions, want me to repeat a question, or anything else, just ask. And you have to be friendly enough to compare your straw.
Yeah.
Tall switch.
Thanks, Brian.
No problem.
We got to reuse these. We're recycling the straws. And Tom the timer will start the green light when you start, and turn on the yellow light when we have 15 seconds left, and then the red light is time to stop. So, first question, Mr. Slizewski. What do you see as the priorities to be addressed by the town board?
Dorothy, their statements are first.
Oops, sorry. Thanks, Ann.
Yep.
Obviously, I like the question answered. Your opening statement, please, sir.
Hi, my name is Brian Slizewski. I've been a three-lakes taxpayer for 20+ years. I've been heavily involved in the town the whole time. I've been actively on the town board over the last 2 years. like to see growth in the town. I'd like to see the town progress and be forward thinking. I like a few things that we've done in the town board in the last 2 years. I think we've made some big steps, and I'd like to see them through. I'm passionate about this town, even though I grew up in Eagle River. I chose this town. I have a family. I live on Winkler Road. My kids have all graduated from Three Lakes High School. And he's in the back celebrating because he hasn't graduated yet. But it's a good place for him. It's a place they can call home, and I'd like to keep it that way. That's all I got.
Very good, next. We'll go.
This way?
Then we'll go back to Briggs.
Okay. All right. My name is Roger Brisk. I moved here in 2010 from Waukesha, Wisconsin. As my little opening statement on your handout there said, when I moved here, the best way that I knew how to meet people that I didn't already know was to volunteer for any and everything that anybody asked me for, whether it was serving hamburgers at the park board or working for Three Lakes Trails or the shootout committee or whatever it was. If they needed a hand and I had time, I did that. The last 5 years, I manage a restaurant here in town. I've lived in town in the sanitary district since I moved here. And I just want to give back to the community that welcomed me so with such open arms by serving on the town board. I would like to commend the town board for the work that they've done in at least taking the steps necessary to get a bank interested in coming back to this town. I think that's fantastic. I don't need 2 minutes.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella Baltus. I've lived in this area my entire life, other than when I was pursuing my 2 bachelor's degrees in economics and business administration from the universities of Wisconsin-Madison and Whitewater. As far as this whole thing goes, I'm a pretty blank slate. I really have no agenda other than I want to make sure that the small town integrity and vibe that Three Lakes has stays intact, but we also keep up with the times and create a thriving environment where our businesses, current and future, can thrive. I think that everything that our current town board has been doing is great and on the right track, and I have no plan to hinder their progress in any way. I just want to be here to help. The main reason I want to do this is I just want to be able to advocate for my neighbors and my fellow community members. My family has been in this area pretty much since Three Lakes was founded. Both my great-grandfather, Fred Butch Bonack, and my grandfather, Peter Baltus Sr., were very active in the community, and I hope to follow in their footsteps.
Good evening. My name is Ed Cottingham. Thanks for coming out on this fine evening. I'm running for this office so I can support the revitalization of the business district, bring new businesses and provide employment and housing opportunities, and maintain lake and water quality. I have volunteered at the Historical Society. I've lived here for 20 years. I volunteer at the Fire Department picnic. I'm a director on the Three Lakes Waterfront Association, and I have been on the town board previously. I've held multiple positions over the last 15 years for the town. Thanks again for coming out.
Very good. Now we're ready for the question. And Brian, since you got to start with the opening statements, I'm going to ask Roger, please, to be the first to answer the first question. What do you see as the priorities to be addressed by the town board involving the town of Three Lakes? What is your top priority?
Top priority would be to continue to bring tourism to this town. One of the ways we need to do that is we need to be able to service the people that do come to this town. Again, managing a business, I know everybody that I know is looking for qualified workers. The flip side of that is if we get people to work, whether they come from outside this community, we need affordable housing for them. And we do want people to, in the tourism industry, to spend money in this town. I think that Three Lakes needs and can support a hotel. Where that is going to happen and how far along we are remains to be seen. But I hope to be able to dig into that and get some answers.
My main priority, like I kind of mentioned in my opening statement, is to keep our small town integrity intact while still allowing for growth. I definitely think it's important to put a focus on our tourism, but that being said, we can't lose focus on our year-round residents because we live here year-round. I mean, I see it. I see the busy streets in the summer, and then in the winter they're dead, but we're still here, and we live here year-round. So my main priority is just to make sure that we keep our small town vibe because that's so important to the heart of Three Lakes, but also making sure that we continue to progress and bring in different businesses and just continue to thrive.
Yeah, there you go.
My first priority would be to work with the current town board and organizations that have already laid groundwork for new businesses and affordable housing. This is a very difficult environment when 80% of the people who own property in Three Lakes don't live here. They're all part-timers. So to move the town forward, it's going to require a lot of effort on a small group of people.
My first priority would be to aid in finishing the road program that our chairman had started 5 years ago now. I think that's very important to get that finished. And the second priority is tourism and bringing people to this town. But like Roger said, in doing that, we need affordable housing. So my third priority then would be the subdivision ordinance. I think we really need to take a long, hard look at that so we can get more full-time residents to support our tourism industry.
Roger?
I started.
Whoops. Ed?
We're done.
He's
We're
done.
done.
Yes.
That's right. Ellen? Are you beginning this time?
We're done with the first question.
Yeah, so you have another question. What role do you see the town board playing in economic development in Three Lakes? For example, what approach would you suggest the board take in seeking out new businesses to come to Three Lakes, addressing the overall lack of available labor or lack of affordable housing and providing utilities? And Ella, you're first up.
Let's see. I feel like the town board's main priority as far as that goes would be just to supply the most welcoming environment that we possibly can. And that involves trying to make sure that everything keeps running well now and make sure that we continue to thrive and support the businesses that are already here. Because new businesses aren't going to want to come in if they view the area as starting to go downhill. And I'm not saying that it is, I don't believe that at all. I think it's kind of in the right direction. But to make people want to come here, we need to make it seem appealing. And a lot of people, I think, look at Eagle River as just so much bigger and so much, there's more opportunities there for business, but that's not the case. There's just more businesses there already. And we just need to create a welcoming environment so that businesses want to come.
Again, this is a very tough environment for new businesses to come. It has to be a niche business like Lakes Precision, who can supply parts to the world without having the world come to Three Lakes. Affordable housing, I have asked real estate people, I have asked different people in the community to define what they think is affordable housing. And I still haven't received an answer. I get a lot of different responses, but never a definite number as to what affordable housing is. And jobs are very tough to come by. The community, since I've lived here, I've seen our main street lose a lot of businesses, and nothing has come back. And this is a very difficult thing to do.
So, I think we gotta support our businesses that we currently have. I don't see us attracting any new large businesses, but we don't necessarily need them. We just want the people who live here. If they work at a factory in Islander, as long as they live in Three Lakes and they spend their money here, that's what we need. And once we get that, then the businesses will come after that. We need housing, we need good roads, and we need a stable town, and it will all come into place.
Well, I think as far as the businesses, I'm going to cite the fact that within the last 4 months, 2 corporations made their decision to stop doing banking in this town for whatever reason. And the town board took it upon themselves to investigate and research and invite. And lo and behold, somebody is interested in, they've asked for regulatory approval to open a branch in this town. Because those 2 corporations abandoned our elderly that can't necessarily or don't want to drive to Eagle River to the nearest bank. They've also abandoned the businesses that are existing in this town. So the town board has taken the first step in inviting a bank here. Who's going to move here if they don't have a bank that they can get their money into and out of easily? So that's the first step, and we need to continue with small businesses, be it restaurants that have changed hands or some small bookstores, art gallery that's going to open soon.
Okay, very good. And I'm realizing that there are folks that are listening to this remotely, and that I've got to be careful to say your first and last names each time, because otherwise they might get mixed up as to who is speaking. So we're now on to question number 3. And Cottingham, you will be the first to respond to this one. And the question is, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the town any way you wanted, what would you do with the money and why?
$1 million. I would put that to good use in the downtown area, trying to procure some new businesses that would sustain this type of environment.
Brian Slizewski.
$1 million, I don't even know I can comprehend that. Again, it would be supporting the businesses we currently have, the empty businesses, trying to get them filled, and then using some of that for our infrastructure, which is very, very expensive to keep up. People, if we get the people here and businesses here and the roads are crap, nobody's gonna wanna drive on them. And then affordable housing, off-water housing for our local people that we need to help fund this tourism area.
Roger Brisk.
Well, I think that's a question that there's so many opportunities to spend that $1 million that would be better suited after long discussion and review. And that's kind of me on an I dotter and a T crosser. But I would say sanitary district is certainly one thing to look at. A hotel, infrastructure, roads, and affordable housing and businesses are the things that would need review. Those are easily ways that we could spend the money, be it all at once or some fraction.
Ella Baltus.
Well, like Roger mentioned, it's kind of hard to disperse that large amount of money just at a quick glance, but I would say I would just try to spread it as evenly as I could across the areas that need it the most. Infrastructure being a big one. That's definitely something that's pretty boring. It wouldn't be fun to spend money on infrastructure, but as far as the longevity of the town, I definitely think that would be important. I would also take a look at possibly doing some additions or revamping our parks, because as a young person looking to start a family, that's huge. I mean, I definitely think that being appealing to that young demographic and having people want to move here and want to raise their kids here, that would be a big thing too.
Thank you. Brian Slizewski, you are first up for question number 4, which is describe, it's not a question, it's a statement. Describe how you see the relationship between town and county government.
I think town and county government, right now there isn't much of a relationship, and that is a key focus of mine on both ends. That's why I'm also running for county board, to get them to work together better. We have Oneida County zoning, and I don't feel we get our fair share of input to it. That is a major focus of mine, one way or another, is to get more input into the Oneida County, but we have to work hand in hand.
Roger Brisk.
I would agree with Brian that Three Lakes doesn't get a fair shake when it comes to Oneida County. Having said that, the town needs to take care of the town, the residents that live here, the people that work here, the people that own property here, and the people that, again, going back to tourism, that want to come here and spend their money in this community, which a lot of people know, tourism money changes hands up to 7 times. So every dollar here helps.
As it's been brought up before me, I definitely think that the relationship with the town board and the county board could be improved upon. That being said, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that make a thriving environment and a lot of moving parts that go along with that. So I think that working as closely as we can with as many governing bodies as we can only be helpful and beneficial and help us grow.
I have dealt with the county board for 15 years, and it becomes a struggle as time goes on. They claim they don't have enough resources to support our needs, but I've always had a good relationship with those people, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know going to the county board, had good relationships and good support, and it just takes a lot of effort to deal with the county board.
That was at Cottingham's meeting. Okay. Next question, and let's see. Roger, you're first up with this one. How do you plan to involve residents in decision-making processes in our town?
Items that come before the town board are listed on an agenda. They're published with ample time for anybody to be able to see them. If I'm elected to the town board, I would encourage people to check the agenda items, and if they have any questions, concerns, or would like discussion, I would be available at set times to do that. Having said that, there will be inappropriate times when I'm working at the restaurant or when I'm on my mail route. I'm getting paid by someone else. That's not fair to them. But that doesn't mean I don't care. So that's what I would encourage residents to do.
Baltus.
I think the biggest way we can help involve the residents is just simply spreading awareness about the meetings and about what's going on. That being said, I've lived full-time in 3 Lakes for almost 5 years, and up until probably 6 weeks ago, I didn't even know when the town board meetings necessarily took place. I think a big thing we can do is promote that on different social medias, such as Facebook, and reach a wider audience about when the meetings are happening, what's being discussed, and that way, the more people that know, the more opinions that come to the table.
And Cottingham.
I have found over the years that most people don't seem to want to get involved unless it's a hot button issue that really affects them. The younger people, they have families, they have jobs, they don't want to get involved. It's really hard to get people to come and participate. Like I said, I've worked on projects at the Historical Society, and we're always struggling to get people. 80% of the people don't live here. They come up for the weekend. They don't want to tie up their weekends with doing things in town. So it's really a difficult situation.
Slizewski.
To get people involved, we got to talk positive about the meetings, encourage people to show up at them, whether it's live in person or we record our meetings and they're on Facebook, and just educate them about how much fun we actually have there. And we do have good, fun discussions. It's all good for the town, and if they can't complain if they're not informed. And it's up to them to inform themselves. All we can do is aid them and encourage them to come.
Ellen, you're first up with the last question here. What experience do you have that required a working knowledge of Wisconsin open meeting law, public records law, and parliamentary procedure? And how do you see these influencing your work as a board member?
Well, when I originally went to college, I was actually going to go to law school. So I have quite a few classes under my belt that have to do with that, but people change their minds and I ended up going a different route. So I definitely have some experience as far as that goes. This would be my first time serving on any sort of board, but I definitely don't think that's a negative thing. If anything, I think it would be a positive thing. I don't have any sort of agenda to bring to the table, just some fresh new knowledge and a different outlook.
And Cottingham.
Open meeting law is kind of tricky. town board members have to be very careful when they're discussing with other town board members that it's either held in an open session or there can't be more than two people talking about an issue. Being involved in town board for 15 years, being chairman of the plan commission for 3 years, I'm well aware of the rules and regulations, and I make sure that I do not violate any of those rules.
Brian Slizewski.
Prior to me being on board for the last 2 years, which is 2 years of experience, I was in attendance at town board meetings very frequently. And you just learn how it goes, and the town board and the current town chairman and all past town chairmen, I'd like to think, are very supportive of teaching people about open meeting laws and controlling the situation. And, you know, like Mr. McCloskey is very helpful and knowledgeable in that. We just got to rely on each other on the town board to make sure we're doing things the right way.
All right, very well. That's the end of the questions.
I have
Roger,
an answer.
you're next. Sorry, we didn't catch all already. Go for it.
That's fine. I currently serve as the president of the Three Lakes Tavern League, vice president of Oneida County Tavern League, so I'm fairly well versed in parliamentary procedure and open meeting laws. This week, yesterday, I was notified the Tavern League Wisconsin has our fall convention next week, so I'll be out of town to see the election results. But I've been selected to chair the Rules Committee for the elections for the State Tavern League. So I think that gives a little bit of an idea about the qualifications.
So each of you have had a chance now to
Yes.
answer each of the 6 questions. And it's time for closing statements. And Roger Brisk, I believe you're first up with that.
Okay. You can probably tell by my responses that I'm in favor of tourism. You know, I manage a restaurant. I've worked in sales management, and finance. So when it comes to the details, I'm able to take a look at it. Like I said, dot the I's, cross the T's. Take a look at all of the possible outcomes and vote my conscience and hopefully what the town is looking for. But again, I know this town has been in existence for a long time. As Ed has mentioned, 80% of the people who own property don't live here. They may be watching, they're not here. But I do believe that tourism is going to bring the extra dollars into this town, which in turn is going to help the town overall.
Ella Baltus.
Like I touched on previously, my husband and I are recent home buyers in the area. We chose 3 Lakes to plant our roots. We're going to be around here for a long time. I genuinely have the town's best interest at heart. I love 3 Lakes. I always have. My parents have a propane company right across the street. I grew up there playing in the parking lot, as long as that is. But I guess I would just be honored to serve on the town board and follow in some of my ancestors' footsteps and help 3 Lakes grow and thrive.
Ed Cottingham.
I've always been in favor of a democratic society, and to me, the majority rules, no matter how I feel about the situation. And I've always supported the town. The county wanted to stop signing flags and banners. I took business owners to the county. We pled our case, and they agreed not to enforce their ordinance as long as there was no complaints from the citizens. The county was going to fine The Petroleum Museum, $1,000 for not having a conditional use permit. I took the owner with me to the county, and again, we pled our case, and they agreed not to enforce a $1,000 fine. I've always been in favor of the community and helping the community move forward.
And Brian Slizewski.
Well, I'd like to start by thanking everybody for coming out tonight. Those people watching at home, it's encouraging to see such a good turnout on a not so good weather day. And I'm also encouraged that there's 4 people running for 2 spots. That shows people are concerned about the town and want to get involved, and maybe we can get them meetings up. I encourage everybody to go out and vote on April 5th, and I hope I'm one of your 2 votes. Thank you.
And thank you, all 4 of you. Your responses were thoughtful, careful, articulate, so it showed that you put a lot of thought and a lot of commitment into running for the local public office for the supervisor candidate positions. And you've done yourselves proud, each of you. Thank you so much. Shall we give them one more hand, folks? Next, we'll hear from candidates for the school board. Would Susan McCloskey and Collette Sorgel please come up?
Dorothy, could you remind people to move the microphones in front of them when they speak, so it's loud enough? Thank you.
Yeah, there's just 2 of you, so you can position your chairs so you're right close to the microphones so everybody can hear you clearly. And unfortunately, Karen McCloskey, one of the candidates who was to speak here tonight, was involved in a serious accident and can't appear here. So Susan McCloskey is going to read an opening statement for him, and then she'll retire from the stage. And then Collette, you'll give your opening statement, and then respond to the questions that were submitted from citizens. Sounds good. In the school board. So, oh, we got to do the straws. This is short straw goes first for the opening statement.
Doesn't matter.
We have to come together to compare the straws.
You got it.
Before I give my dad's opening statement, I just wanted to personally thank Three Lakes Community and the high school. I love the last panel. I'm not originally from here. I lived in South Florida. But as you see with my dad's bio, he had 2 grandsons graduate from the high school. They happen to be my sons. And I wanted to let you guys know from the bottom of my heart that I am thankful because for 3 Lakes and for the small town atmosphere, my oldest son in his freshman year was going to Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. You might recognize the name. They had a horrible school shooting, Valentine's Day 2018. He was going to that school, 3,303 students. He wasn't doing well, not academically, but behaviorally. So my dad and my mom said that he could come up here to live with them. It changed the trajectory of his life. And I don't think you guys know, you don't even know the half of it. I don't think you know what a special town you guys have here. So he left there, came up here, finished high school. Then he went to Ripon. Then he went to Marquette, where he majored in math and physics, graduated in the ROTC, and became a Marine. And this is the kid that was, God knows how he would wound him. So as his mother, thank you so much. I hope that was okay. That wasn't my dad's statement. That was just a personal thank you. This is
Thank you for 3 Lakes Public Schools.
Yes, exactly. And the community. So that was just a personal thank you. This is my dad's statement. Hi, first let me apologize for not attending. Due to a recent fall, it wasn't a serious accident, he's okay. Due to a recent fall, I am presently in a PT rehab program at the Eagle River Hospital. He will be getting out on Friday. I'm happy to say, and back to causing all sorts of problems. We all know that we have the best school district in the state. My past 15 years on the school board have allowed me to play a role in achieving numerous school successes. I could talk about the past, but I'd rather talk about the future. We are currently expanding our K-4 program. I plan on pursuing a 3-year program for the 3-year-olds called Prep for Pre-K. I want to have a new program in high school which allows our teachers to teach Nicolay College credit courses in our building. The time and mileage our students would save by not making the trip to Nicolay would be considerable. As a leading school district in the state, it is only appropriate for us to lead in the transition to a broader education plan. Again, let me apologize for not attending tonight. Have a positive and productive debate, but I guess it's not going to be a debate. Lucky you.
I can talk.
Thank you very much. Vote Terry McCloskey.
Thank you. My staff used to know that when a teacher came to me as a patient, they would roll their eyes and say, oh, well, there it is. The schedule is blown. Dorothy will be talking to that teacher for God knows how long, and that's because I love teachers. I love public schools. What would we do without them? Where in the heck would we be? I know I wouldn't be. I'd be up working in my grandfather's garage in my town in Leadville, Colorado. That would have been the end of me. So, Collette, we're happy to have you talk and inform us and answer these questions. And you may start with your opening statement, please.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for joining us. I do have an outdoor voice, so if I get too loud, let me know. as a community rep for Nicolay College, between 2009 and 2013, I was able to see a lot of the school districts in the Nicolay footprint. And I can tell you that not only our school, but our library is very well known for the quality of education that we offer and the quality of teachers we have and the quality of the community and the parents. So we have everything going for us, and we just need to keep it going. I care, and I want to make a difference in the students in the Three Lakes community. We need to help guide our students and prepare them for options for working or after school, whether it's running a family, running a household, or having a job. And I saw in teaching at Nicolay that the younger students, many of them still had not decided what they're doing and how they're going to do it. So they're going to a two-year college, but they don't really have an end in mind. I believe that the school district is working in the right direction by starting to mentor and coach children at an earlier age. As an advisor on the Fab Lab committee and on the marketing committee for the Fab Lab, I got to see bringing in kindergartners and teaching them and having them try things and fail and try again. So we are starting to really foster a condition of it's okay to fail, it's okay to try different things. During our lifetimes, we're going to be multiple careers. We're going to have multiple things to do, and technology is going to change our life. And I want to be part of that and see that the children in Three Lakes grow and thrive.
First question. The Three Lakes School District's mission statement is, quote, teaching students to become productive citizens, end quote. In that light, what should the district do to better prepare students as citizens?
Well, the school district is already having the students help work on community service and community volunteering activities. The children who, when we have available the trips for them to take, help fundraise and do things in the communities to get the cash to help pay for those trips. So we're already doing a lot to show them the way the communities run. Having them come to meetings, having them work with the teachers. In the high school, we have the school children learning more about business. All of those are very good aspects of learning community. But it's not just the school, it's the parents and the school and the community that have to shape those children and get them to grow.
Is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on the school board of education? What do you see as a major issue or issues facing the Three Lakes School District?
The Three Lakes School District has a lot of things that we're working on, and I've only been in position since July. I stepped in to fill a vacant position, so I'm not familiar with all of them. But I do think a lot of the issues that we have center around making sure that our children are learning and having the proper learning, and that we work with them from where they are. So we work with them at the skill level they are, and we try to get them as well-rounded as we can, but we build on their strengths and help them grow on their strengths and where they can move forward. A particular issue I'm very passionate about is nature. I'm on the Three Lakes Natural Resource Committee. I'm the chair of that committee. And the Highway A property, the forest cropland that we're going to have outdoor classrooms in, that we're going to have paths in, and that will also be our trap shooting range, is something that's very passionate for me. Plus, my husband and I live about a half a mile from there.
There's been a lot of press about parents not wanting their children to experience, quote, discomfort, end quote, in the classroom in regards to books assigned or lessons that explore uncomfortable issues or dark parts of history. What is your stance on this? In the same vein, what is the role of schools addressing topics through teaching such as sex education, cyber safety, AIDS, wellness, bullying, racism, etc., the tough social issues.
I've learned a lot from Colonel McCloskey in the months that I've been on the school board. And his guidance to me has been that we follow the association that comes to Wisconsin Public Schools, and we see what their recommendations are on any of those topics. What books are good? What should we teach? And we make sure that our curriculum is meeting standards within the guidelines of the Wisconsin Association of Schools. So topics are going to be controversial, kids are going to feel uncomfortable, but we have to make sure that after that uncomfortableness, they feel good about themselves when they leave the room or when they leave the classroom, and make sure that they can function well in our society.
What experience do you have that required a working knowledge of Wisconsin open meeting law, public records laws, and parliamentary procedure? And how do you see these influencing your work as a board member?
I was Vice President of Sales and Marketing for TDS Telecom. It's part of telephone and data systems. I had board meetings monthly, quarterly. As Vice President of Sales and Marketing, I had to go out into the communities to small group meetings and run small group boards that they had with smaller telephone companies. There were 128 companies, and every quarter we would visit different companies and have their board meetings. So I know parliamentary procedures. I followed them here in the Three Lakes. I am on a few boards, and we all follow parliamentary procedures and Robert's Rules of Order, and it's just something that I know.
How does a school board balance the need to provide a quality education with the need to respond to the local taxpayer group?
A lot of everything that we do comes down to money and where we're spending our money. And we as a society and as Three Lakes taxpayers have to realize that our children are one of our most precious resources. We have to look fiscally responsibly to have the teachers, have the administration to work with them, but we have to make sure that we are putting our priorities to make sure that those diamonds in the rough are worked with, and we make sure that they can be the best person and the best community member they can be.
How can the school board be accessible to the community, to specific community groups? How do you see incorporating public comments in an effective school board meeting?
That is a question I've been asking myself, and I've talked to a lot of people. As a school board, as on any board, the best quality you can have as a board member is to listen. So things are published at the end of the meeting. We are recording the meetings. I welcome anyone to call me, email me, ask questions. One of my skills that I've learned over the years is to take disparate information from different places, from 5 or 6 different places, and put it together and come up with a solution to make sure that as we're working through different groups, we're not duplicating efforts or missing something. So I believe that we can work together to pull things together, and public comments, I still think we could get more input on for our school board meetings. If people see the agendas early enough, they can call and talk to us just like the town board, but we have to listen.
And finally, Collette Sorgel, would you give us a 1-minute closing statement?
I believe that every child has the need to grow and learn, and that it's our job in society to make sure our children have access to learning to their full capacity, that we build on their strengths, and that we make sure they are functioning members of society. Thank you for having me.
Now it's time for our final panel, the candidates for county board. So that's Brian Slizewski, Collette Sorgel, and Missy Zanzinger. And again, please remember when you're speaking to bring the microphone over to you in your direction so everybody can hear well, and I'll do my scroll thing.
Shuffle around. You get relaxed.
Brian, I'm going to give you credit for attention to detail. Brian noticed which color the stripes were on the short straw. That's why I had to be deft and careful about Okay, so we'll start with Missy Zanzinger for your opening statement, please. 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Missy Zanzinger. I'm running for Oneida County Board in District 7, which is a very large district that just covers Ward 3 of 3 Lakes and then all the way down to Pelican Lake area. I'm running for a couple reasons. One is I feel that our working family aged is not currently represented on the board, and so that is my demographic. I have a family, 2 kids currently in the 3 Lakes School District and 2 adult children that live in southern Wisconsin. A couple other reasons of things that are important to me as to why I'm running is natural resources. Our lakes and forests are why I live here, and so protecting those is crucial to my family, my children, generations to come, and then, of course, tourism. And then the third thing that is important to me in regards to the county board are our social services programs. So those are the programs that serve our youth, mental health type things, all the way up through our elders, aging, disability, veterans. All of those sorts of programs I think are important, and we should take a focus on those.
Brian Slizewski.
Hi, I'm Brian Slizewski. I'm running for County Board Supervisor for District 13. I want to work with the town and the county and get a better voice for the town. I think Dave has done a good job, but I think we need a stronger voice to get the town moving in a better direction with the county. I think we need a younger person on that board. I'm not young, but we got to look at the future. Thank you.
Collette Sorgel.
I've lived in 3 Lakes for 13 years now. My husband and I chose 3 Lakes as where we came when he took early retirement. We plan on being here for the long run. So I want to make sure that our county and our town and our residents are served well. As president of the 3 Lakes Chamber, I was also president of the United County Tourism Council. In that role, I presented and asked for funding to the United County Board multiple times. I was able to see how they function and see that they needed a new mix of people. I believe that my experience in business and in education and on my volunteer boards has helped me become a well-rounded person. And with my current community involvement, I hear from a wide variety of perspectives within the community and a wide variety of people. and I'm always asking people what they think, what their opinion is. So I'm trying to find out, and like I said earlier, listen. I've been part of the Forward Three Lakes initiative since the start, and that initiative is looking at multiple things. I am on each of the committees. We have affordable housing that we're looking at. We have silent park updates. We have a leadership. We have downtown area, and all these groups plus more are trying to make Three Lakes better. And part of that is making sure that we have good zoning requirements and that we follow up with them, making sure that our rules and our laws are actually taken into account, and that we're making sure that we are holding people accountable. So I think I can bring a wide variety of knowledge to the board and help not only the community and the county.
Very good. On to the questions. And Brian, you get the first one first. Brian Slizewski. I should cut his last name, so I'm supposed to have yours on. Describe how you see the relationship between county and town government. In your opinion, is this relationship currently functioning well?
It functions. Whether it functions well or not, I guess it depends on which subject you want to approach to it. I think it can function better. I think we need a zoning presence in our town. Part-time, 1 day a week. I think we need zoning to follow up on the ordinances they make. I don't think it should be turning your neighbor. I think that's their job. If they're going to make an ordinance, they need to enforce it on their own. That would help the town and the county work more closely and function better.
Collette Sorgel.
I have to agree with Brian. We have a working relationship with the county and the town government. In my humble opinion, it is more reactive than proactive. So finding things that are very important to us, like the town roads, like making sure we can get roads and new subdivisions so we can build affordable housing, all of those topics need to be proactively worked back through the county, and making sure that we can get more done to help people survive. Affordable housing, $300,000 to $350,000 homes are very hard to come by. And we need to make sure that we make our land accessible so houses can be built. And those are all things that we need to work on, and the county and the town needs to work together and be proactive with each other.
Missy Zanzinger.
I would agree that the relationship between the towns and the county is not great and could use some improvement. I'm in a little bit different district with a unique situation that I cover many different towns, and so personally, to connect those dots, we have to figure out how to either review minutes regularly from those town board meetings, attend those town board meetings, how do we bring the information from those individual meetings to the county. So I have a little bit different challenge that there's several different district or wards in my district to do that for, so I'm trying to figure out how that would work. But there's definitely some bridging of the gap between those different meetings that needs to happen so that there's proper representation from all of those wards.
Collette Sorgel, you're up first for the second question. In seeking solutions for current issues, what will be your top priority as a county board member?
Top priority as a county board member would be to make sure that we are working on tourism and that we keep funding tourism, because the towns up in the Northwoods really live for the months that the tourists are here. Whether it's making sure that we have snowmobile season, ATV trails, the lakes open and the town's going, but the big priority I think would be making sure that we know that tourism is one of our ways that we make a lot of our tax revenue, which helps pay for a lot of things in the county.
Melissa Zanzinger.
I
You can repeat the question anytime.
Thank you. Protecting our natural resources is something that I'm very passionate about. That leads directly into what Collette talked about regarding tourism. If we don't have our lakes and trails and forests, the people will not be coming. That's why they come to the Northwoods. That's why I moved to the Northwoods. So that is the lead priority for me. That is, directly related to keeping and sustaining our natural resources and our county.
Brian Slizewski.
We really have two major ones. The first one is, again, if the county makes an ordinance, being able to follow up on it themselves and police it themselves. The second one is the budget, not using general fund money to balance the budget. Every other township out there has figured out how to do it the best way, and I believe the county needs to figure that out as well.
And Collette, do you have something? Yeah, Collette. What do you see as an area of concern in regards to our lakes that should be addressed at the county level?
I didn't hear the question.
That's because I gave you the wrong one. In seeking solutions for current issues, what will be your top priority as a county board member?
She just
Stand down. Well, Melissa? Next question. What do you see, Melissa Zanzinger, as an area of concern in regards to our lakes that should be addressed at the county level?
In regards to our lakes.
Yes, our lakes.
So in regards to our lakes, so invasive species to me is one of the higher concerning items regarding our lakes, especially in 3 lakes. I know we have several lakes that have Eurasian milfoil already, and I've talked to others in my particular district who are concerned about those as well. I know shoreline protections is another top kind of item in how we protect our shorelines, but I also feel invasive species is probably one of the leading. There's not a lot of funding that is available for that, so we need to figure out how to fund that. There's been some state grants that have helped fund that, a lot of times at local levels, the Waterfront Association here specifically, so we need to figure out how we can help control that from a county level.
Brian Slizewski.
I would agree. It's invasive species, and I think the county needs to be more active. And I don't really know how active they are with our 3 Lakes Waterfront Association, but our Waterfront Association stands out among all of them. So if they're not very active, I would encourage them to be more active, because our Waterfront Association here in 3 Lakes has done things that other waterfront associations would never even dream of.
As chair of the cultural committee, we talk about the Three Front Waterfront Association at every meeting and the different things they're working on. And we are blessed to have lake captains on our lakes that are proactively working and making sure that we have coverage for our boat landings, and that we're checking the boats and making sure that those invasive species aren't coming in, or like last year when they did come in, that we eradicate them right away and we take action and we fine. The biggest challenge I see is funding and how we make sure that we can keep our due diligence on the invasive species and shoreline protection. And again, like Brian said, enforcement of the laws we already have.
Next question. Brian Slizewski. What is your opinion on the short-term rental ordinance that allows homeowners to rent their homes with a minimum 7-day stay?
So I think the short-term rental is the way of the future. future for the tourism. As some of you may not know, I actually work for a short-term rental company. I am an advocate for it. I see it bring people and money to the towns. I see it bring employment. As far as the 7-night minimum stay, if you're solely talking about in single-family residential, I don't believe the state statute says 7-night minimum stay. I think that's the county ordinance, and I believe it should be a single occupancy in a 7-night period. There's some different language that was tossed around last night at the town board meeting, for example, that as long as it's one renter in a 7-night period, that's better in the off-season. We're only talking the off-season, so I think we really got to look at that, and we really got to talk to the planning and zoning department to try to get them on board if that's what 3 Lakes or other townships want.
Collette Sorgel.
I agree. I think that short-term rental and policy we have right now needs to be looked at. For the last 2 years as an Oneida County Tourism President, I have worked with the other chambers on different policies. 3 Lakes is unique that we don't have a hotel right now, and it's going to take us a while before we get that hotel. So we are missing tourism dollars in the spring and the fall when people only want to come for a few nights for snowmobile season, or only want to come for a few nights in between. In the summer, they seem to take longer stays, but I believe that we need to look at that 7-day, 6-day, or minimum 7, and see if we can keep the property vacant like we have been talking about. If people stay for 4 days, it would be held open for the other 3, so only one person rented it, but I think that's a good way to do it. The other thing is compliance and collection of room tax that goes along with that, because we need money for our tourism and for the chamber and the town through that room tax.
Missy Zanzinger.
So short-term rentals, I would agree, are very important to tourism. I think one of the biggest issues with them is people are renting their homes almost illegally against the rules, so that we are not collecting the room tax on those rentals. So there are ways to properly rent your home. So a lot of people bring on Airbnb, VRBO, and that's great. That's where people want to stay. They don't not always want to stay in a hotel. They want to stay in a home. They want to be on a lake, etc. So I think that the issue we have with this particular ordinance is enforcement, as Brian mentioned before, with setting ordinances and not being able to enforce them. I know the county board's been looking at how do they review how many homes are not properly being, or are kind of, I don't want to say illegally, but being rented against the rules, and then how would they possibly enforce ensuring that we are receiving those room taxes from those rentals.
Collette Sorgel, you're up first for this question. If new resources were available, what one area of county services would you feel most needs additional resources?
Additional resources. Well, I believe that our sheriff and our police department need more resources to enforce the laws on any kind of drugs that are in the area. I believe that we need to enforce the laws for shoreline protection. I believe we need to enforce the laws for the tourist rooming house rental. So I think the one big thing I would say is enforcement of our existing rules and laws.
Missy Zanzinger.
This is a difficult question because is it a money resource or a person resource? So I'm gonna approach it from a financial resource perspective. There's some there was a question earlier about funding available via the government due to COVID and pandemic-related things. And so there is some funding available that I think we should invest in some infrastructure. Broadband is a huge issue in the Northwoods and especially in Oneida County, and so think of it as a financial resource, I would want to pursue or look into how far can we get within those sort of resources. It's very expensive. So when you ask $1 million question before, it doesn't go very far, but it would kind of depend on what that resource is to determine how we want to invest it.
Brian Slizewski.
That's a difficult question, because like Missy said, are they talking people or are they talking money? Infrastructure, and when I say infrastructure, I'm talking about roads in particular. It's a lot of money to fix them. If that's a money one. People one would be enforcing the laws that we currently, ordinances that we currently have. We need to enforce them or they're no good.
Kind of related to that, the next question, and Melissa Zanzinger, you're up first for this one. Are county taxes too high, about right, or pleasantly low?
They're just right. I will say, coming from another county, they are low in comparison to other counties in Wisconsin, which is delightful when you want to be a shoreline owner. You're paying the same as you did in just a regular community. That being said, I'm not an advocate for let's raise the taxes. I think that we can try to balance the budget in other ways and then look into that as an option, but I do think that they are a very fair tax that we have in Oneida County and in most communities.
Brian Slizewski.
That's another difficult question because the county only sets so much of the levy. The townships do, school districts do, so when we say taxes in the county, we've got to look at all the things that we pay taxes to, not just the county. So I don't even want to venture to guess that because I don't know what percentage the school district gets. I don't have a problem paying the taxes I pay currently. It is cheaper than some other counties. Is it adequate or not? I don't know.
I agree with both of them. The taxes that we pay here compared to what I paid in other cities that I've lived appear more reasonable. Our school tax is biggest part of our levy that we have. I think that we need to make sure we're using whatever tax money we have to the best ability and making sure that we're making informed decisions and spending that in a fiscally responsible way.
Last question, and Brian Slizewski, you're up first for this one. What source or sources do you consult to form your opinions about issues in the county?
You got to listen to the taxpayers. And me for Representative District 13, I would listen to the District 13 taxpayers and see what they want. I mean, whether you agree with them or not, you got to do what's in the best interest of the town, or the county in this case, and the county as a whole. So I mean, you got to look at just our township, but then the county as a whole. But I would prioritize our district or our township over somebody else's.
Collette Sorgel.
Can you repeat the question?
What source or sources do you consult to form your opinions about issues in the county?
I listen a lot. I do watch a lot of news programs. I join in on the county board meetings when I can or watch them afterwards. I attend most of the town board meetings here in Three Lakes or watch them if I can't attend. But I talk to a lot of people and ask what they're looking for, what they want. And hopefully through listening, we can come up with solutions.
Melissa Zanzinger.
I would agree that the residents of your district are the most important opinions. That is our job as a county board supervisor, is to represent our district. So it is our responsibility to listen to our neighbors and to listen to our community members and to find out what is important to them and then represent them at the larger board meetings, the larger county board meetings. So while keeping the entire county's best interest, that's the role of each one of us as individuals, is to properly represent our district in the larger group.
Very good. And now we're ready for the closing statements, but first I'd like to ask a question of the audience. How many of you raise your hands if you regularly, or at least some of the time, attend a county or city meeting, board meeting? Yeah, about half. And that's honestly, the League of Women Voters of the Northwoods has what we call Observer Corps. And I was so busy in my career in raising children that I didn't go to local government meetings. But the day after I retired, I joined the League of Women Voters and joined this Observer Corps, for which you commit to regularly attending a local government meeting, board meeting, committee meeting, whatever. And I found that I love it. There's good stuff going on there. You're right there with the real people. You know, it's not somebody on a TV screen. They're the folks you know, the folks that live and care about your community, and you can have a conversation with them. And I have also found that a lot of times I am the audience. There's the clerk and the treasurer and the 4 new town supervisors up front there, and then there's the fire and maintenance guy to give his report in the library or speak their report, and then there's me in the audience. And local government is where it all starts, and it's fun, and I think it's exciting. So I would encourage you all to make a commitment, whether it's as part of the Observer Corps when you join the League of Women Voters, or just on your own, answering to your conscience or your curiosity, to pick a local government meeting to show up to regularly, to follow along. So that's my 2 bits that I couldn't resist. So now we'll have the closing statement, and Collette Sorgel, we'll start with you, please.
I'm past district governor of the Lions Club, and as past district governor throughout my year, I was able to go to different conventions, I was able to go to meetings, and talk with a lot of people in our community that volunteer and help. During that time, I found that I really do care, and I really do want to make a difference in the Northwoods community. Because of my unique position of business and education and being on the volunteer boards, I think I have a perspective that can help in decision-making and help get people to think differently, or at least look at different options. I ask that you all do get out and vote if you haven't already, and that you look at the facts. The 3 Lakes News this week had information on all of the people running that provided it, so you can learn about Brian, you can learn about Melissa, you can learn more about me. But get out and read and learn and make an informed decision, and please vote. Thank you.
Missy Zanzinger.
I currently work for a tribal government in healthcare and finance, in a healthcare quality and finance setting. So I have a lot of experience in tribal governments, work a lot with county governments, where they have all similar programs across the board. I have a lot of experience in finance and grants, and there's a familiar with managing large amounts of grant funding. I'm a community volunteer in 3 Lakes. I've immersed myself in the community, both in this building, where I spend about 50% of my time, and outside of these walls. And I truly want to represent all of the voices in District 7. It's a nonpartisan role. I take that very seriously. I want to represent every single person in my district, regardless of their political views.
Brian Slizewski.
Again, I want to thank everybody for coming up tonight and watching. I also want to share the voice of the people in my district. I want to listen to them, and I want to make changes to the way they want this town to change. Collette and I are a little bit different than Missy because we are all in 3 Lakes. She's got some other townships she's going to deal with. So we're fortunate that we just get to look at our 3 Lakes taxpayers. And I look forward to making a change. Thank you.
Very good. That concludes this forum, and I want to thank all the candidates and the Denver Library, and Ann and Tom Tyner, and Diana back there, and everybody who helped plan to put this on. And I want to thank you, audience members, who took this time out on this impending nasty weather night to be here. And you show that you believe in the dictum saying that at least half of making democracy work is showing up. Thanks for showing up, and good night. Take care.
We have a question. Is that allowed?
Well, we weren't planning to have any questions from the audience. I will defer to the organizers. We got a head shake, no, but there is going to be a socializing of some time afterwards. So you can ask your question person to person, right up close, out there in the lawn.
I thought the board member would know. I heard that we lost so much revenue with this rental thing with Muetlein. So I was wondering if anyone knew how much we lost. I heard over $100,000.
Well, talk it over with these folks and the other citizens, voters that are going to be there in the lobby. And do finish the lemon bars and brownies that they're arguing about. Those are really good.
That was